Hello friends and gamers, and welcome to the Fortress, and welcome Wintermute to his channel, The Think Tank. So yeah, thank you all for attending and joining. We are going to discuss something a little bit different today than usual. Beyond GW36, we're going to discuss kind of board games that we enjoy, and specifically kind of why we enjoy them, or what kind of springs out to mind why that we find them enjoyable. So, Wintermute, why don't you start us off?
Okay, well, there's a board game that just popped up recently on my radar. It looked really good. I got it. I wanted to, because it looked fun, and I wanted to, hopefully my kids would play it as well. And let me grab the box right here. Skulk Hollow.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay. This is it's basically, it's a strategic dudes on a map combat game with card management and deck management elements. And a very simple board where you do have to plan out your attacks. It's also and my son loves it, and it's hard for me to find games that he enjoys playing.
Nice.
He's not a big board gamer like I am,
Yeah.
but this one just really was great. Yeah, we're talking about you. Relax. Yes. And so it's got those elements that I'm used to really like in board games, like you would see in any kind of guys on a map kind of game. But one of the really cool things is it's asymmetric the way it plays.
Awesome.
So one player plays the Titan, this giant creature which is attacking this woodland area with anthropomorphic foxes in a medieval setting that have to defend it. So one player plays the Titan. One player plays the Foxen. They're called Foxen. The Foxens who have to use more traditional knights, archers, and healers and leaders to fight this Titan. And the Titan has his own board where they can climb up him to attack vulnerable spots at other locations on the Titan, like at his head, his arm, and then you disable his attacks.
Nice, yeah.
So both players are drawing cards and trying to manage their hand and play their cards effectively to reach their victory condition. And it's different. The victory condition is different each game because each Titan plays differently than the other Titans. There's 4 different Titans in the base game. And there's an expansion coming out, Bear Peak, I believe is what it's called. And it is, it's going to be the same kind of concept, but it's going to be a standalone game. My guess is that they'll cross over, and you can use Titans and characters from either game, either kind of setting.
So it's a 2-player game.
Interesting. It is only a 2-player game, so you're not going to be able to play with the whole family. But it's real easy to learn, real quick to learn, pretty quick to play. And what I like is usually it's quick enough to play where you'll sit down, one player will play the Fox and one player will play the Titan, and then you finish that, and then you just swap.
Yeah, okay, nice.
And that's kind of how I see it
between
the 2 players is you switch sides so that each person has a turn on the opposite side.
Nice. Yeah.
So this way everybody gets to enjoy both, because both sides have their fun elements to them.
Yeah. Okay.
So I really am glad I picked this up. I really do enjoy this game, and I can't say enough great things about it. I don't see any problems with it. I play this game, and I don't think I've ever said to myself, man, this really, that could be a problem. That could be, I could see that screwing somebody over. Yeah, there's randomness, but not so bad that it's horrible.
That's kind of cool that you find it like that level of enjoyment, because my kids are still really small, but you enjoy the game so much more because you play it with people that you enjoy playing with, right? You know, that has a big factor for you as well. Yeah, right on. That's really cool. It reminds me of another one. I can't remember what it's called now, but I invested into it, and it is something similar. Asymmetrical in a woodland setting. You got like the birds. They play very differently from like the woodland wild rebellion, and then you got like the cats and all this other stuff. Do you remember what that one's called?
I know what game you're talking about. Yeah, it was a real big hit too.
Yeah, it was a big hit. Yeah. And it looks really cool. I
cannot for the life of me remember it. I know they've already got some expansion.
Oh yeah, they've got plenty of them.
Yeah. I cannot for the life of me remember what it's called though.
It's asymmetrical.
Somebody in the comments will tell us.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's an asymmetrical game, but the problem is it's so hard to learn how to play because it's like every single game. I mean, it's got lots of replayability because they play so differently from each other, right? So it's pretty interesting. It's really interesting in that sense. Yeah. So one of my top ones, mine are much more selfish than yours. Mine are just me-centric. But my problems
are a solo game on my list.
Yeah, there we go. My problem with my games is that I like them, but very few other people around this area do. So it's like I rarely play them. But top one for me would be this Fatal Alliances. I've talked about it a few times before. It's an inspirational game. Now, it is a hex and chit game, so it's one of those deep strategy games. It could be, I think, like a 4-person game or whatever, 2 to 6 people game. Like it's really quite good. It goes really in depth. I mean, it's not really built in a way that's very convenient to play with, because if you have a fleet, your fleet are little stacks of chips, like little, squares, and they could go like this high. Like, imagine how wobbly that is. So you have to kind of make do with task force markers and such. But a very complex game. They got weather, terrain, commanders, resupply, political points, influence points, and it just draws me in each time. There's so many different things you can do with them, and it's not like a clear-cut victory either, where you're winning the game and you count victory points or something like that. It's basically you bring your nation to its knees, to the point where the civil population goes in revolt against it. And you kind of slide into that anarchy slowly. It's like, at this point, every time you do a combat, you roll a dice, and then your guys are like, no, we're not going to go into this fight. And then it's like, well, I planned it out. I had everything planned out that we'd do this. I used my activation point for that, and now they don't want to go fight? Like, that's a bummer kind of thing, right? And then you slowly decline economically, railways, ports shut down, and to that point of complete collapse. So I really enjoy it. It's very fun. I've only ever played it with my brother once before, and we had a great time of it, but it's a long game. So it's one of those games that he only comes in from out of town, and it would take us a month or 2 or 3 just to have it set up, just to play, every weekend a little bit.
So in that game, you're more of a leader as opposed to the godlike entity moving these figurines around.
That's right, yeah.
Because the figurines may decide, I don't want to go that way.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So, it's like, all right, attack. You don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they have some level of autonomous will of their own, right? What they want to do. Yeah, so it's quite enjoyable. It's an older game. I'd love to see like a reprint of it. These guys did World War II one. I just really like World War One, so that's where my passions lie. It really interests me, and a lot of my top selections are World War One-esque kind of games. I really enjoy them, especially since they have like diplomatic features. Characters from war being involved in the fight. I really enjoy that level of detail and complexity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I may have to look that one up. Now that's a World War One.
Yeah, it's called Fatal Alliances. It's really diplomatically focused, right? So it's not like other games where it's like, okay, it's this turn now. This is when these guys join the fight. It's like you actually have to push and pull people into your camp, and that diplomacy plays a major factor. It's like you lost a fairly major battle. Well, you lost political points, or you won something. Now you got political points that you could do something else with, and you could impact the game that way, which is kind of cool, right? It's historical in some sense. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So another one that I really like to play with the kids when they are up for it. Now, one game type that I really, really enjoy is co-op games. Do you have much experience with co-op games?
Yeah, there's quite a few I quite enjoy. There's one in particular that stands out almost immediately. What's it called? Submarine Commander, U-Boat Commander, something like that, if you ever played that one?
That's a co-op game?
Yeah, it's like you have 4 players, or up to 4 players, and 4 players on the table across from you.
I think that came out last time I was at Origins.
Yeah, okay. Or Captain Sonar.
On the table. I'm like, oh, what's that?
Yeah. I think it's called Captain Sonar or something like that. But it's like one guy's the captain, one's the weapons guy, engineer, and radar guy. It's so fun. I enjoy that quite a bit. Yeah.
So a lot of the games now, I've played Pandemic, which was kind of the game that put co-op games on the map.
Right. Okay.
That's a great game.
Yeah.
If you've never played it, it's worth playing. Almost all the expansions are great to play. It's easy to play with kids. The base game gets a little repetitive after a while.
Sure.
Well, not repetitive. You figure out
what to do. Yeah.
Manage it so that you walk that line just perfectly. So you'll start to see you win 9 out of 10 games because you've learned how to math. And that's when you start to bring in the expansion.
Right. Yeah.
So co-op games in general are one I would mention. First off is Arkham Horror Second Edition.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Which was you played it?
I've played something like that. I don't know if it was first or second, but yeah, I've had to go at it.
So Arkham Horror is a fantastic game.
Oh yeah, if you're into the dark.
It had problems.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The bloat with all the expansions, as fun as they could be, it just really started to bog the game down. Unfortunately, I have played a game with every single expansion printed. Third edition looks good. I own it, but I have not played it enough to really give a good opinion. Anyway, a lot of games. I really enjoy co-op games. One I really enjoy are story-driven ones, particularly ones I can play with the kids. Again, we haven't played this in a while, but this one's called Stuffed Fables.
Okay,
and the premise is you are playing the stuffed animals that belong to a little girl who is right at that point where she's moving out of the crib into her own bed.
Interesting. Okay, yeah.
And unfortunately, there is an evil force who has some designs on this little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And at night, the stuffed animals come to life and not only protect her in her room, but go into this other pocket dimension to combat this evil entity that has designs on her.
Yeah. Okay. Huh.
And it is it's like a storybook. So this is the book. The rules are separate. This is the actual book.
Okay. Oh wow, that's massive.
It's like reading a story.
Oh yeah.
So there's like the opening door in the bed.
That's right. Yeah.
Then the crawling dread. So here's your tactical combat map right here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Here
so
are
you play
scenario specific rules for this combat.
Okay. Cool. Nice.
And then the choices you make and the way that combat works out, we will tell you to go to other parts in the book.
Right. It's like you make your own adventure book or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Because some of the actual instances will have you probably can't see them very well.
Yeah.
But there's icons right here. Points of interest. And then you'll set out other points of interest that are relevant. Yeah. There'll be some enemies and whatnot. But if you reach this, that can give you another option. So you can skip over one of the combats and go to a different zone, which may be beneficial. Yeah. So there's an ongoing story, and it's cool because it's super fun and thematic to think about.
Right.
There's the stuffed animals you can play in like a campaign style, and then you can eventually start off with 4 stuffed animals you can play, but you'll unlock 2 others as the story progresses. So it's the kind of thing where you can play it once, not knowing, completely blind about what your options will bring you, and have fun with it. Then you can still play it again in the future, but now you'll know. But now you're going to want to pick some of those other options.
Right? Yeah. Cool.
Because we know that path gets us that character right away. We'll take this untreaded path. Oh, that path brought us back to that character, but it took longer to get there and unlock that character to play. Okay. And of course, the fun thing is your health is stuffing. You have to have stuffing tokens, little stuffing tokens. The currency are buttons. Yeah. Your weapons are like a sewing needle.
Okay.
Or a letter opener.
So thematically, the flavor is really there, right? That you're really
it's a really immersive game that is fun to play. Yeah. There's story that you actually are supposed to read out to the group before you start playing.
Okay. Yeah.
To give you so that you understand what's happening within the story and he kind of help get you immersed in the game.
That's pretty neat.
I really love stuffed Fables, and I want to get around to playing it more and more. Don't look at me. You spilled it. I want to play that. I want to be able to play that more when we have time, because I really like to sit down and play it all the way through, which I haven't played yet. No,
absolutely. Yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah, and that's one multi-person game is again. Sorry.
A co-op. Yeah, I want to say. You know what? It's right here. Or it's not right here. Anyway, I want to say it's 4 players. It's up to 4 players.
Right.
Because you start off with four characters you can play to start with, so that sounds about right.
Gotcha.
Now I do know there's one expansion for it, but I don't. Where I think the little girl grows up and then her brother is going through the same thing.
Right.
And so they're kind of progressing the story and giving you something new and exciting.
Cool.
So it's a really great game. And one of the things I like about Plaid Hat is they actually, because it's clearly a game designed to target families with younger kids. You go to their website for this game, they even have like a series of instructional videos on, hey parents, you may not be used to board gaming with kids. Here's some things you want to keep in mind.
Okay, nice.
Their attention span is a little limited. When they say they're done, don't push it. They're done.
That's right. Yeah. Cool.
That's okay. And so they actually know their target audience, and they want to interact with their target audience in a way that is constructive. So I really enjoy the game. I really enjoy the design. I really enjoy playing it. I really enjoy the theme. Everything about it. It makes it a great game.
That's really cool. It makes me think, like, 20 years ago, what kind of games did they have out there? They had next to nothing, right? They had Monopoly. They had Farmville.
We are still in the golden age of board games.
I agree. Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's been going on for a while, and fingers crossed.
We still,
keeps as a country, as an economy, we still have enough disposable cash to support this golden age for as long as it will last.
Well, hopefully it's not a golden age that will fade away. Hopefully, hopefully it's just a
new norm.
Right. Yeah.
Now I believe board gaming as a hobby unto itself has just become that, a hobby unto itself. It's like, I'm a board gamer, as opposed to a role player,
that's right.
as opposed to a LARPer, as opposed to a war gamer, which is kind of a subset of board gaming.
Yeah. But it might become something like, music in some sense has gotten itself, well, how do I put it? Like
a diversity of options. Yeah.
Yeah, so many diversity of options. Like before, you used to be like, oh, I like this kind of music, and you still kind of do on some level. But compared to what it was like back in the days, like you have such an exposure to a wide variety of music now. It's like it doesn't even make any sense to be like, I like this because there's so much good music out there, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and I usually just say I tend to like this.
Yeah.
Because you know what, I there are some music types that I abhor. I hate country on a whole.
Yeah, sure.
To be honest. However, I am more than willing to say that is a very, very talented artist.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, really, like Eminem, for example. I don't like his stuff. I don't really care for his stuff, but he is extremely talented. Okay. Yeah. I can do that. And there are plenty of times I'm at work, I get forced to listen to country at work, and it's like
fun.
You know what? This is actually a good song.
Yeah.
I respect this song.
Sure.
I like this song.
Well,
it's not something
a lot of the
tunes,
tunes,
on my CD player.
Sometimes the top 10
that's a diversity of option with board games as well.
Yeah, that's right. Usually the top 10 of any music is somewhat catchy of music to listen to, right? And sometimes it's interesting and the tune catches you and the lyrics, whatever. All else, there's something within that resonates. But it's like 20 years ago, board games didn't really exist in any kind of meaningful way. I like to shop around in thrift stores for old board games, and they're complete garbage. A lot of the old ones, right? They're horrible.
There's an evolution of the design concepts behind board games.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And if you limit yourself to one subset of board game, then you're missing out on a lot of really innovative designs, fun designs.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I have a broad spectrum of experience. So, and I know in some ways wargaming, like there are people who will consider themselves wargamers.
Yeah.
And if I were to talk about Pandemic, they would go, "What's that?"
Yeah.
You play war games like every weekend, and you would never, but not board games, war games.
Yeah.
To me, there's really no difference.
Well,
because that was my gaming environment when I was younger. Yeah. It's we were just as quick to pull out
Monopoly.
Well, no.
I have standards.
Well, I mean,
right?
when I say younger, I mean my early 20s.
Right.
With my local gaming group.
Yeah.
There was a diversity of board gaming out there, but Axis and Allies was just another board game. It didn't stand alone as a war game or a chit game. And there are people who make a sharp divide, gatekeepers who make a sharp divide there. Oh, that's not a war game. I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
No, that's your problem, man. But when I talk about games, I talk about them holistically.
Yeah,
when I talk about the evolution of ideas and design concepts, I talk about it holistically because that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it too. So my dad, he comes from he's a Cold War era refugee to Canada kind of thing. So board games for him is like you are completely wasting your time, and fair enough. He comes from a different generation, but they can be such an asset and tool to bind us with family, with brothers, sisters, children. Just random people, and make friends. Right? It's a way of getting together that's not just sitting around drinking beer. Which fair enough. If you want to sit around drinking beer, but there's other ways to connect with people now, and it's nice to have that diversity of options of connecting with people on a meaningful level, right? So, yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about one game I quite enjoy. I would rate this one as probably because experiences, I've had the best time playing this game, but this is Twilight Imperium. Twilight Imperium is a fantastic game. I would recommend every player who is interested in board game design, at least a little bit bigger, wants to play Twilight Imperium. This is its 3rd edition, I believe. Fourth edition, TI4. And it's a fantastic game. Continuously evolving, progressing in an ever upward, more interesting direction. Just fantastic all around. It's got the package and then the expansion that you throw on. In many ways, it's Global War 36. And I when I went down to visit Doug from HBG in Tulsa, we actually went to Board Game Cafe and I pulled this one out and I attempted to teach him. Of course, we didn't have loads of time, but it would have been fantastic if we had played a game. It's got, an immense, all you really need is one of these sheets. And you have a new nation to play. So you could print off, 5 sheets and you have a brand new nation to play. There's endless customizations from people online creating their own races and such. It's just immensely modifiable, but the base core game is so well written and so well designed. You have the rule book is not a thick rule book. It's 31 pages. They have stuff like an appendix at the end. You go, okay, I'm thinking about abilities or faction sheets. Let's say I'm looking at something called passing. And so you find out all the places in the index here where they refer to passing. That's great. It's a rule book that's not scattered across the entire length and breadth of the rule book. It's like you actually know exactly where all the places are here. And if you're looking at something that is a little bit more scattered throughout the rule book, You find it there where it says fighters, and you find every single reference to fighters in that entire thing. It's so easy to read, comprehend, and set up and play. It's no issues whatsoever. And there's never been a time where I've played that game where I had to look online for FAQ, which just makes it brilliant when you're sitting around a table and everyone's on the same page. So it's a great, fantastic game. And sorry, I'm gonna gush a little bit here. It's got a strategic element where you're trying to, it's a 4X game. You're kind of building your galaxy, building your empire across the galaxy, dealing with other nations. It's asymmetrical because every nation plays differently with different abilities. There's politics and there's promissory notes with other people, so you strike alliances and deals with everybody and try to get things working out. There's trade that you do with people as well. There's a technology tree that you work through. And there's even, once you get to that central point, the old empire, Rome, the central Rome of the beginning of the galaxy. So you can set up like a galactic council, and that galactic council, you vote on certain issues and agendas that come up, and you could vote like the Minister of War, or you could something like a limitation on the size of your fleets and stuff like that. Just overall fantastic on so many elements, that diplomacy, politics, strategy, tactics. And it's another win for me is you could probably finish it within 8 to 12 hours or less, probably. Usually
it. Oh, wow.
In one sitting you could finish it. Like, I've never played this across 2 sittings. You don't need to. You finish it in one. So 6 hours, 8, 12.
I have not actually played that game.
You have to.
I have not played it. I have tried to, but the opportunity, and I'm not gonna. I don't want to invest. I know it's quite a bit. It is a big investment up front. And that doesn't. I want to make sure it's a game that I'm going to be able to play on a regular basis.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So again, a lot of my current games that I'm into would play a lot. A lot of them are geared towards a younger crowd. Or
right.
family.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Even though I know there's a lot of other games. Now I do own Eclipse, the first edition of Eclipse, and I know Eclipse shares a lot of similarities with Twilight Imperium.
Okay.
Though Eclipse is probably more simple.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Overall, but it's got that kind of 4X
right
gameplay. Mentality behind it.
Yeah.
But I really do want to play Twilight Imperium one of these days when I have an entire 12 hours to commit to it.
Yeah.
I don't know when that'll happen.
I've played a few other games similar to it. Like I've tried to play the StarCraft that they had. I can't remember what it's called. If it's just called StarCraft, and Space Empires, and a couple other ones. This one by far tops. If you're into space game strategy, this is like the best one out there as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah. I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
What else do you got on your list? So,
sticking with the theme of co-op games, and I've already mentioned a bunch of them. One I want to throw out there real quick, which is another great family one, is Castle Panic.
Oh yeah, Castle Panic. I play that.
Yeah. The Star Trek Panic is good.
Yeah.
It's actually really good. They actually managed to get kind of the Star Trek feeling to it because you're actually completing missions.
Right on. Okay.
To win the game.
Yeah.
There are a couple finicky rules, and there's one rule that, quite frankly, I tell everybody I play with, look, we're not going to play with this because it just bogs the game down. And everybody, once you play it, you're kind of like, I see what you mean.
Right.
And I wish they would just get rid of it. But otherwise, it's a lot of fun. So the Castle Panic stuff is really good. But continuing with the theme of co-op games is another one I really like. The Big Book of Madness.
Okay, I've seen that in stores. Yeah.
It's from Yellow. I actually got lucky. The guy who runs the local gaming group actually volunteers for Yellow as a guy who presents these, who teaches these.
Right. Cool. Nice.
He'll just teach the games. He'll just spend all day in his Yellow employee T-shirt. He doesn't have to. He doesn't need the money or anything. He does it because he is actually very good at teaching games.
Nice. Right on. Good for him.
But I got lucky because this came out, I want to say, a little bit before the Origins I went to. He was working there. He got a copy, one of their copies, that because it was out of print, or the first run had come and gone. So he grabbed this and he just gave it to me. And I'm like, dude, what do I owe you for? Nothing. Dude, I've got more than enough capital saved up with Yellow that
cool.
We can cash in our time to get board games.
Yeah.
He goes, just take it, dude.
Nice.
But this is a cool game if you want to. Okay, you're not playing at Hogwarts. In the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But by God, it sure feels like that.
Okay, cool. Nice.
And that's fun.
Yeah.
So the theme of the game is you're a bunch of students. There's different characters. Each student there's 2 for each house based on the various elements. and each one has their own particular ability. There's hand management where you're trying to, and deck building. So you're purchasing cards and building a deck, and then you have to shuffle that deck. And the point is you inadvertently opened the big book that you're not supposed to open.
Ah, okay, yeah.
It's down in the basement. It had a big old padlock on it, but you guys just couldn't get over your curiosity. Now you gotta bust your ass to put that shit, put anything that walks out of that book back in before the professors realize something bad is happening.
Yeah, gotcha.
It is not an easy game to win. I will throw that out there right now.
Well, that's always
There's
fun.
a lot of elements to balance.
Yeah.
But it's fun because there is a lot of interaction between the players. Yeah. And as you play, you can learn new spells, and you can have your own little layout of spells that you can use to make your stuff more efficient. Well, I need to start drafting some fire because I want to really be able to use that fire spell, even though I'm an earth caster, because that's too good an ability to let go. Yeah. Or you're going to just focus all on the earth, but then when you got to beat an enemy who you need some fire to beat them, and you don't got it. He walks right by you, and it's like, well, that didn't work out well. Yeah. So it's a really fun game. I like the co-op element, and I especially like the co-op element because you guys have to work together.
Right. Yeah.
If you are the kind of person, I've talked about this a little bit before in other videos, where if you're the kind of person who likes to have that tableau right in front of you and just look at that and never interact with another player, you will not like this game.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I generally speaking hate games like that.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah.
So Big Book of Madness. I know there is an expansion. If it's not out already, it's coming out soon. It was a hit, but it wasn't like a smash hit, and it was a popular. I found that it's not a mainstream game within the board game community, but those who like it really like it.
Cool. Well, I will definitely check that out because that sounds quite appealing. Interesting to me, anyways. How many players?
This one is 2 to 5.
2 to 5. Okay, that's not bad.
2 to 5.
Yeah.
And that is one nice thing about some of the co-op games. Some of them are now designed where you can play it by yourself.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They'll just have you tweak some things so you can do that.
Yeah.
Not every co-op game does that. Yeah. But it is a great chance when you can't find a group. You can't find somebody online. You maybe don't have a lot of time to commit, so you want to sit down for an hour, play it, go to work, come back a little later, finish it up in the afternoon or the evening. You know, and you don't have to worry about other people. You just play it on your own pace.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I have this odd problem that when I do play co-op games, when I do go to the board game store, it's either 2 people or it's like 6. I don't have that happy middle ground.
my local gaming group has that, where some weeks 4 people will show up, just about perfect. Other times it's like we got 7 people. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, do we play a 6-player game and somebody might sit out? Yeah. Maybe it's not their kind of game. It's like, I'll sit this one out, guys, and I'll play on my phone for a little bit. And that does happen. Or do you kind of find that awkward 3-player game and 4-player game at the same time?
That's difficult.
Sometimes it's really finicky to get it just right.
Well, my third game that I don't have it down here with me, but it's Dominion, and you're probably familiar with Dominion. Yeah, Dominion I quite like. It's a game that me and my wife quite enjoy, and she doesn't like too many board games, but she's kind of an analytical thinker, and it's a great game for the two of us where we can both sit there with our hand of cards and slowly deck building and slowly try to acquire those victory points. And it's got a lot of expansions as well, so every year we
my God, that game's a lot of expansion.
It has a lot, yeah. Some good, some less good, but yeah, we enjoy that one. There's other honorable mentions I want to throw in here as well. I like Terraforming Mars is a pretty good one. If you ever played that. Yeah, okay.
I enjoyed that. Yeah. That one though, there's like a whole sub-community of just terraforming Mars fanatics.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I did enjoy it though.
I like those kind of hidden villain mechanic games. Like Werewolf is a fun one to play, or a Secret Hitler rather.
I do not. I have played some great social deduction games.
Yeah.
Where I walked away going, that is a great social deduction game that I never want to play again.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I just do not like social deduction games.
Yeah, okay.
Now, there is one exception that I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed, and God, I'm killing myself because it's on my list of games that I eventually want to get. It's like you're detectives, and maybe that's the name of the game, Detective Hong Kong.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Right. But one person knows the details about what happened.
Okay, yeah. And
the players have to kind of ask questions.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Based on kind of cards that come up. And God, I can't remember the game. Yeah. And it's a little way. But man, you have to be really, really sharp
You do, yeah.
And I mean, I was sweating playing the I forget what it's called, the storyteller or whatever it's called, the information person. And I was just like, oh man, I'm going to screw this, because it's easy to screw up if you say the wrong thing.
Yeah, I played a game like that. Sorry, I played a game like that. I was playing with some of my friends who are in university. And one guy's going to be a doctor. One guy like an IT guy, like not IT guy. That's computer scientist or something like that. Like really top notch mathematicians, doctors, biologists. I was like the smallest of fish in a big pond. Like I was like I was so small there. Like my brain, these guys are like high functioning kind of adults, right? Just really capable, really sharp, and they would spot everything. And the guy that was, the narrator or whatever, the guy who had all the clues. So he is again one of these guys too, one of the university guys. And I was so far behind. It was such, I wasn't even sweating at that point. I was like, they're like 6 steps ahead of me. I was like, I hate to say this, but guys, what should I even ask? Because you're on such a different level than me that if I ask anything, I'm wasting my turn essentially trying to, confirm something that you guys already deducted somewhere else. So,
and some of the best social deductions games I've played or social guessing games where you have to guess what the other team is thinking about or what their card is. They have to give you a couple clues, and you write down some notes. And then they have to guess what's on that card. Some of those games are great because there's so much gray area in how you answer and then how you think about it.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay, okay, you have to describe something. All right, I describe something as both being big and small at the same time. That's your clue. The answers I've heard people say in that kind of situation is wow, I just don't think like that. I would have never come up with that answer in a million years. So some of those social deduction games or social guessing games, and I don't know, there's different subsets. So I don't. Some of these I haven't played in a while. I haven't been able to go to the gaming group on a regular basis. They're really good games, but when it comes to full-fledged social deduction where you have to lie, like Secret Hitler, you have to lie a little.
You do,
Now I know there's mechanics to define it. But like some of them where you have to, everybody else looks at the photo except the guy who's the assassin.
Spyfall or whatever that's called.
You're asking each other questions. Well, you have if you're the person who has not looked at that photo, so you don't know where you're at. They ask you a question and you answer it wrong, you're done.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's a good game, but I don't really enjoy that. I'm a horrible liar.
Okay, that's probably
why. Part of the problem. I was a horrible liar.
Yeah.
I can BS great, but I cannot lie. My tell is that my lips are moving. That's the tell that I'm lying. My lips are moving. That's
my
how
wife,
obvious it is.
My wife is like the sweetest, most innocent of persons, but she is fantastically, maliciously good at these games. Like such a liar. It's like, my goodness, if you ever turn your skills against me, I mean, for all I know, she has, but
you won't even know it.
Yeah, won't even know it. No clue. Yeah.
We were talking about Dominion. Unfortunately, that's one of the games that I lost in the divorce.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I know the reason my ex-wife kept it was because it's one of the few games she could consistently beat me at.
Yeah, my wife does too with me, so it's odd, right? How that works.
Yeah, she figured it out. She tried to explain it to me, and it's one of those things where mechanically I understand it, but I still can't grasp it, to do it. I can't put it. It's still like I can't wrap my brain around that concept. But I know what she does. Yeah. But she could consistently beat.
Yeah. Battleships. Oddly enough, my wife, like 3 times out of maybe 3 times out of 5, she beats me at Battleships. Like, and we play a lot of Battleships.
You mean that the one with the grid?
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't play that anymore.
No, I know. I mean,
that's in the same league as Monopoly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Fair enough, but still, it's like one of those things that
all you do is you start in the corner, you call out an X. You call out an X.
Yeah.
And you just start doing every other.
That's what I do. But she doesn't, and she beats me every single time. Almost 2 out of 5 times every single time. But we play a lot, so it's statistically improbable. But she says I'm predictable in the way I call my shots and place my units. Right?
Too, yeah.
Even though
there's other games that are great that are worth mentioning. Like that I own or have played. Adrenaline is a great one that I want to eventually get. It's a first-person shooter style board game.
Oh, weird.
And it gets a little frustrating because the weapons you use they have very limited ammo supply. So basically, you have to get just the right cubes to shoot it.
Nice.
And it's very tactical.
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be. You think of first-person shooters as being extremely quick, and you just spray and pray.
Yeah.
No, it is extremely tactical.
Okay.
And you got to plan your moves out really well.
Right.
But the economy of that game for using your weapons and utilizing your skills is so tight.
Yeah.
That actually makes the game very intense. So I want to get Adrenaline. It's on my eventual list to buy. I really enjoy that. Another good one is a Small World. I enjoy Small World.
Yeah, I've played that. I didn't enjoy it too much, to be honest, but yeah.
I think you need the right group to play that.
I get too fixated. No, I think the problem is with me because I get too fixated on a specific nation, and I'm not versatile to like let things go, and I just can't do it.
One though that I got not recently, but a couple years ago is Zulus on the Rampart.
Oh yeah, okay. I've seen that.
Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I really enjoy. Now, the Battle of Rorke's Rift already is in a very special place in my mind.
Okay.
Because I have this thing for the Defender, the Last Defender, for castle sieges.
Sure.
I love tower defense games.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Video games and whatnot. I'm absolutely addicted to Rogue Tower right now. Go on Steam and download it. If you're looking for a game to get addicted to, it is Rogue Tower. It is worth the $15 because you're just going to keep coming back to it.
Okay. Yeah.
Even when you get frustrated, you're going to come back to it. But so I love tower defense games. I like that kind of 10 versus a million scenarios.
Yeah.
Rorke's Rift fits that historically.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is a game by Victory Point Games. Now, this is a company that specializes in solo games. This is their primary meat and potatoes. Solo games.
Yeah.
Their biggest hit is probably Day of the Zeds.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is a very, very popular game within the solo player community, and it's in its third or fourth edition now. And this is a very small company, and you used to buy these games. Basically, they were plastic baggies.
Right.
You would pay $10 for a plastic baggie with very cheaply printed out kind of figurines. That's how they got started.
Okay.
This is like the deluxe edition.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because the company's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right.
And some of their games are becoming hits. You can also find Day of the Zed on Tabletop Simulator. So some of their games are being ported, and they're being ported by them. So you can actually pay the $10 to play it on Tabletop Simulator, and it's an official copy.
Right.
But I never thought I would enjoy solo games, but this is really good because you really are in this. You have a million things to do. You'll never get it all done. Great. You know what? I had this guy sending water. I didn't put this guy over here on water. I figured he should be on ammo, but then I draw that dehydration chip, and suddenly my guys are dehydrated. So now their combat rolls are way less. And it's like, oh no, that was bad decision. And then I never built that redoubt, that next layer of redoubt as a secondary line of defenses.
That's cool.
Well, this column of Zulu soldiers came in and charged, and because of that, they're in deeper into my And it's a really great game. And
that is really cool.
I actually read reviews, and I'm like, oh, this actually sounds like my kind of thing. And it is. It's that one against the 10, and it's very historical.
Yeah.
And the rule book actually explains what the events actually are. Like when you draw a chip that triggers an event, it will say here. It will give a section that explains. Here's a myth Zulu War or Zulu Rifle Division or something like that, Rifle Brigade. Because they say in the book, contrary to popular belief, everybody thinks Zulus just run around with spears. That is not true. That was part of their tactics, that they had spears and could use spears. But if they had their hands on guns, they would use guns. There's a reason they were a competent military.
Yeah, that's right.
And the biggest threat to the British Empire in Africa at that point in history. So it doesn't play like you think it would play. Now, they absolutely are positioning themselves and charging and whatnot, but they'll shoot back. And I like that you can actually read it, and you can learn about the history when you read it.
Yeah, that's right.
In ways that and dispel a lot of the myths you have about it.
Yeah.
Of course, there's the famous movie with Michael Caine.
That's right. Yeah.
Is it called Rorke's Rift? No, it's Zulu. It's just called Zulu.
It's just Zulu. Yeah.
Zulu, which is a great movie. Which is I watched as a kid. That's kind of what got me. That's why it's part of the reason it's solidified in my mind. but then furthermore, it takes all of that, all of the historical elements, and really puts it into effect. And every single soldier is like has a name.
Okay.
Because there was only
That's
like
cool.
so many
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
So
so
they
like
can.
the deck of cards that you go through to trigger certain random events and get certain guys activated, like everyone has a name.
Right.
And you can read in the book, hey, this guy died in this battle, but he was posthumously awarded this and this medal because during the fight, he single-handedly put out like an entire building on fire at this point, you know, and he dove in there. Now he later succumbed to bullet fire, but I mean this is really, and it's not a very big box.
No, it's not.
This is so packed full of great stuff.
Oh, and I might need to buy it because that sounds pretty interesting. Like for a solo game, that's pretty cool for a game to play. Like I'm not much for a solo game that would do anything else except tower defense, but that's really cool. I like that. Yeah. No, that's really cool.
I would recommend this. This is one I actually pulled it out the other day saying, I got to play this.
Yeah, for sure.
So are there any other games you want to mention? Because there's one more that I want to mention.
Go ahead with the next.
One game I really enjoyed, which never became a big hit, which is a shame, was the Dresden Files card game. And it's a self-contained card game. It's a board game card game. There's a board to keep track of things and put the stuff out. Now, the Dresden Files, if you're not familiar, it's a modern urban fantasy kind of setting.
Yeah.
So the main character, Dresden, is a modern day wizard whose magic staff imbued with all his powers is a hockey stick.
Okay. Yeah.
He lives in suburban Chicago in a basement apartment, you know, and he's part of this entire, you know, unseen world of magic. Right. And the Chicago PD is kind of like just tolerates him because there's enough officers out there on the Chicago PD who kind of look at him and go, "This is some crazy crap." Right. But there's something to it, so let him do his thing because this is his ball game. Sure. We are out of our league. So there's this you know, it's like half the department looks at him and goes, "This dude's a quack," and the other half is like, "Leave it be." Yeah. Leave it be. You know, kind of a thing. Right. And the character development is good, and I like urban fantasy. I like modern fantasy. I played Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage the Ascension, all the White Wolf games, which would fall into that category as well. But what you have with the board game is it's different because there's hand management, but there's no drawing cards. You get dealt your hand at the start of the game. That's it. That's your hand the entire game. Right. Some cards may allow you to draw a couple extra cards from the deck or replenish some cards, but that's it. What you have, it is a finite resource that you are using to play the game, and you're not going to have access to all these cards. And all the cards refer back to actual events within the books. Okay, yeah. And so each time you play, you pick a deck of cards that is from like the first 5 books. Right, yeah. So each deck is basically, this deck contains, each card contains the major events in that storyline. And the things that Dresden did to overcome them and the allies that helped him and so on and so forth. So you lay out the events in kind of a particular order, and there's usually like 2 tracks, and you have to manipulate them in a way very tight. The mechanics are very tight. There is no frivolity in this game, and it makes it a very intense game. And I normally, and I don't really like games that kind of, and it doesn't feel like you're railroaded. You know, I don't want to play a game that railroads me into doing a certain thing. You play this way or you lose, even though you got all these other options. They don't matter. You play that way or you lose. Well, that's not a good game. This game, though, you have so few options, and that makes everyone all that much more meaningful. Cool. Yeah. And how you go about defeating the different threats and the different plot points is, and then you're trying to manipulate them and move. Well, I want to push this plot point back behind this nemesis. Now we can attack this guy, get him out of the way, and then that'll give us the resources we need to attack this plot point and get that out of the way and keep moving through the deck. That's right. Yeah. So it's a really fun game. It's a very tight game. And I did read the novel, so there's that extra level of enjoyment, but you don't have to read the books to enjoy it. Right, gotcha. It stands on its own. On the mechanics alone, it stands on its own 2 feet. It's just nice to have the rest of the theming if you've read the books and you understand what's going on. But you don't need to have read the books. But I'm sure that the immersion quality would be all that much more. Yeah, if you had to. Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. Right on. Yeah. So I guess those are some of the highlights of what we enjoy for gaming.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, yeah. Now there are others that could
Of
definitely
course,
go on this
of course,
list.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't even talk about my favorite game, Netrunner,
Oh, yeah?
because
Not
it's
really.
out of print, so I don't want to get anybody hopes up. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm sure there's, you know, you have games on your back shelf that I
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of recognize
Yeah. Yeah,
by
there's plenty.
reputation that we can talk about and go on
Mm.
about.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely, while my main focus is still global war,
Mm.
I do want to play other games on my channel. I want to spread out on
Mm.
to other
Mm.
things on my
Mm.
channel. At some point, if I could talk to kids and do it, I want to play some games with them
Nice.
on the channel.
That's cool. Yeah, yeah.
Particularly newer games, and also I want to showcase games that I really enjoy. Like I want to see bah, I do it. Skull Hollow. Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
I want to see Skull Hollow do well. I want to play it with my kids
Sure. Yeah,
online, record it, and let people see it.
Right,
and
right.
See why I enjoy that game so much.
Well, you know, sometimes it's surprising. I did something about Napoleon in Europe, which is a board game I have, and it's got like one of the most views on my channel. And all I did was like, these are the pieces. This is how how you play the basic setup and stuff. Yeah,
Well,
there's an appeal if you could put stuff out there.
If you go to like the Dice Tower or these other board game review channels, that's generally what they do. Is they talk about it, they break it out, they give you a synopsis of the rules and how it plays, and then they give you their feedback on here's why I liked it, here's why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
I mean, it's a pretty simple formula, but it works.
It works, yeah, absolutely.
And I would like to do more of that, but of course I have life.
Yeah,
I have my own projects I'm working on.
That's right,
but I do want to start trying to highlight and showcase the games that I really enjoy and why I enjoy them, why it's a good game.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, well, that sounds good. So we'll catch up with you another day.
Yeah, we still got other topics to talk about.
Moving
forward, but
it's like we got this massive list, but we thought, hey, let's talk about something lighthearted and less critically analytical, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to be. It doesn't always have to be hyper analytical.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, this is an example of just chilling, relaxing, have fun with.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
We're having fun talking about other board games we like.
Yeah, for sure. To show that we're just we have a more meaningful anyways discourse than just the analytical deep stuff. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that. I'm good. That's all my point. That's all the games I want to talk about.
Sounds good.
Now, you know, if anybody, obviously, leave comments if you want to, if you have more questions about these games or specifics about them, if you're thinking about it. And every game I mentioned, you can just Google on YouTube. But I'm more than willing to talk about why I like it and why I think I would recommend it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Talk to y'all later. Cheers.